Hi everyone, welcome back to Cardvoyant. I'm Kris and I'm your Cardvoyant, and I'm back here today with another one card reading that we're going to do just to kind of hopefully help us out with our lives and everything that's going on right now. And then I also have a little bit more of the Jacob's Journal material that I've been getting over the past few days. So I want to start right off with this one card reading, and then we'll move in and we'll talk a little bit more about the whole Jacob's Journal thing. So hopefully it's helpful. Hopefully it's all helpful to you. So let me put this down so you can see me shuffle. See what we do here. I will no doubt cut out some of the shuffling because I take a while to shuffle, but this is just a one card reading. So we'll go from there. And what I'm asking my guides for is what we need to know, or what it would help us to know, and what it would be good for us, and or what it would be good for us to know at this time. All right. That's an interesting card to get. It's always interesting when we're talking about sort of a thing or an event or a place or something to get a court card. And here we've got the Queen of Swords. So it's a little bit different for me. When I'm reading, I often interpret the court cards as actual people. That's just sort of how I work, and it's sort of the way that I've developed what I do with my guides. You know, that they understand that that's what I'm looking for. But it's not always true, and it's certainly not. Um, it's certainly not true in this case. There's a couple of things with this. First of all, you know, this queen is very she's very smart, very knowledgeable. The sword cards are often about like the intellect and things like that. And this queen is like on her throne of that, right? She's the queen of that. But there's more to her than that, because she's a queen, so she possesses these feminine quality as well that you can see like on her her throne here. You can also see in the background, and this is what is particularly telling in this card for us. You can see in the background the trees, the that's so you can see it, the wind blowing. And that is this idea for us in this time with this card. That is this idea of the winds of change, right? And we're experiencing this now on a very deep level. I mean, that is so often, and I'm sure you probably have said it too, but I've said it, and so many people I know have said it, is everything feels surreal right now. It's like, it's so odd to have it actually happening, to be living through this period that you know that will be looked back on as transitional, and also hectic and crazy and difficult, very difficult, and sort of a defining moment. And we're living through it. Now, we've lived, probably all of us have lived through at least one of these like moments. You know, if you lived through something like the Kennedy assassination, the John Kennedy, or the Bobby Kennedy, or the Martin Luther King assassination, or the Challenger disaster, or 9/11. You know, we have these defining moments, but this is a defining period of time. So that's what this talks about, like with the winds here of change. But the hopeful thing for us, I think, there's more to that. I mean, I could go on and on about this card and the winds of change, and how that is sort of led us to this moment. But it's important too to understand this intellectual ability, this understanding of the like systematic physical things, earthly things, the understanding of them and the breaking down of them, in relation to this queen. Now, she also does have a very spiritual side. You can see the bird above her head, the way that the sword is raised vertically. But what we are talking about here beyond just the, us being brought to this moment, is sort of our escape from this moment, because this card talks about this intellectual ability. And we often talk about cords, swords, cutting through things, like cutting to the chase or cutting through the bull. Swords have a tendency to do that, and this card is talking about the way that this intellectual ability cuts through what we are experiencing now. To me, this is a feeling of sort of the best and the brightest among us, who are now, even now, working just so hard to figure this out, to figure out how it works so they can treat it, and also figure out how this virus works so that they can create a vaccine. And the thing about swords is it's talking about our ability to do this. I think that's the reassurance that we're getting with this card, is this is going to happen. The thing about sword cards too is that they can often be they can often talk about a swiftness. Now, that's relative, um, but I don't feel like this is an overly long process. Like, I don't feel like we're with this card, a special. Speaking of these winds of change, I don't feel like we're, in our home for 2 years or something like that. There is this. Oh man, this incredible um, ability of so many smart people. And they're also, speaking of this, I mean, this does talk about intellectual ability, but again, I talked about the spiritual. So there is this knowledge coming down. These people are tapping into not only their own like physical knowledge, but they're also being like aided from the other side. We all, probably a lot of you have felt that. I feel that very strongly, that we're being, things are close now, the non-physical and the physical, and there's this sort of communication. A lot of people are feeling this. Certainly people that are transitioning, passing over, are feeling this as they do so. And then there is this whole group of people that are being inspired in the work that they're doing to figure this out. The thing is, this is transformative. This is the winds of change, see, happening here. And some of this still needs to happen. Some of this change still needs to happen, or to be pushed to the point where it will happen, after we sort of get over the worst of this. I also want to mention, this is a queen, and I feel like there are some women that are going to be instrumental in this. I mean, we've already seen women, a lot of women leaders, government leaders, really kind of step up to the plate, and have this in hand. That's not to diminish anything from male leaders, but this is a recognition of that new way that women and their feminine energy and their intellect are being appreciated and recognized, right? But I feel like this, in particular, this Queen of Swords card is talking about women involved in this research and in the eventual, um, I was going to say discovery, but the word I'm hearing is formulation of a vaccine. And it's like a team, even. And it could be women in more than one place, more than one country, more than one facility or geographic locale. But it's something that it's sort of is important to have it happen this way. There's so many really inspired and intelligent and committed, um, caring women right now living in this sort of dispensation of time, and they are for a reason, because it's combining this idea of the feminine energy, this nurturing and caring and stuff, and then intellectual capacity, that is helping us realize that this is possible, and it's possible for everyone across the board. It's possible for men as well, that they can break down these walls of having to be this sort of, you know, traditional macho male and sort of embrace this feminine caring side. And we've seen that happening. But with this recognition of the ways in which women are able to do that, and as I said, we're seeing it in leaders, but I don't know, this card really, I think, speaks to the, again, I want to say solution, but that's not quite the word, the taming of this virus, and the conditions that have brought it about. And I'm talking about biological conditions, not about um, government society. That's a whole other ballgame, but that's not what we're talking about right here. Um, but the ways in which women are able to specifically speak to those and sort of better address them. This is a real coming to fruition of a lot of sort of wheels and gears that have been put in place over the past 50, 60, 70, well, let's go back 100 years to 1920 when women got the vote. But, even beyond that, there has been an evolution for the acceptance of sort of what women bring to the table, right? But it does affect men as well and is beneficial for everyone. But to go back to the Queen of Sword card in particular, it is talking about the relative swiftness. I don't have a feeling, because there's so many moving parts, so much free will involved with so many people. It's very hard to say, we're all going to be out of lockdown, quarantine, social distancing in 2 weeks or something like that, or 6 weeks or 3 months. It's very difficult, but it feels sooner than a lot of people are predicting, relative to some of the most dire predictions, which are, a couple of years that this sort of lingers on. And it feels rather conclusive, like that we figure a lot of things out, and also a lot of things that will aid us in the future in regard to not only the way we live, but the way that we sort of tackle this issue of new illnesses and of the pandemic situation. So there's a lot going on here, and there's a lot more than just this sort of biological stuff that's going on, and discovery, and um, formulations and so forth. There's a lot more going on, but this card sort of speaks specifically to that. And I think that's because we're all wondering that. And that's what I had asked my guides, as I said, what we need to know, what it would help us to know, what it would be good for us to know. And so the answer that they gave is, yeah, it's going to happen. You're going to be okay. And here's how it's going to come. It's a combination of our intellectual ability and aid from the other side, and these wonderful people who are stepping up to do this really difficult intellectual work, and not to mention all the people that are stepping up to simply see that we sort of get through this as best we can. So I hope that you're getting through it as best you can. I hope that you're doing well and healthy. For all of you that are sort of suffering with loss, know that we're thinking of you, praying for you, and I I believe that, through this power, we'll get through this. Obviously, I believe that. My cards just told us that. But I am, and we all are thinking and praying for each other, right? Which is an important thing when we've spent a lot of time being divided the past many years. So I do have some Jacob's Journal stuff to present to you. And I want to say that these things that I'm going to read to you now have come to me over the past 5 days. And I've kind of held back and grouped them together. And, this is something that's new to me, and I'm still kind of learning. And I kind of have not known like where it's going or focus. Not that I have to know that, but but you know how you want to do that just as human beings, we sort of have a tendency to want to categorize and put things in. So I didn't quite know like what to do. So I received some stuff, and then I just kind of have backed off a little bit. And then I felt strongly today that I need to put this out there in order to sort of receive more. And then hopefully eventually, and I believe it will eventually, more focus will come for me, so I can understand, like, I don't know, some sort of system or something, or, the various topics that we're talking about, or the overall topic. Because what I kind of was thinking, and what I was kind of hoping, was to receive more information about what we're going through now. But looking back over the material, knowing what I've gotten lately, it's not quite like that. It's more this broad overall stuff. And I'll tell you, I did ask specifically, kind of like, it was one of those nights a few nights ago when I was just like, everything's awful, and it's just, everything's so hard. Why does everything have to be so hard? So what I want to start with is a message that I got in response to that. And I kind of, was thinking, well, maybe they will go on, these guides will go on and on about it, but that was not the case. But they did, answer my question, or they did speak to me about these feelings, so I did want to just read it, even though it's very short. And I have this time put these on the computer so I can not have to keep referring back and forth to my book. So I've done this beforehand. And I was kind of asking, like, the non-physical world, like, this is so hard. Do you even know how hard this is? And this is the reply that I got. And as I said, it's very short, but I think it's quite meaningful. And so they said, we do know because we feel it. It is amplified. Your pain and your great grief and your sorrow, your frustration and your anger is amplified through the universe. We absorb it as a black hole absorbs light. You are not distant and solitary creatures. You are us. We, all of us, are experiencing this crisis. You are not alone. You're never alone. You are looking for a way out when you have not fully explored what led you in. Naturally, there is a way out, but there is much to explore in the darkness before reaching the path that leads to light. This is also happening within the deepest, sometimes darkest, parts of your individual souls. So that is that message that's specific to my own pleas of, for help, that I hope is helpful to you. It was quite comforting to me, so I hope it is to you as well. So on that note, I will read you then in sequence the messages that I received, and these will be written again on my website, cardvoyant.com, if you want to go there and read them, and whatever you'd like to do, you can print them out or whatever. So this entry in Jacob's journal says, though on the ground, you know the sky is always above you, vast and open. The earth itself is a representation of all that is, and therefore all that you are, all you are capable of. The round of the planet, the earth, is the eternal round, the never-ending circle, the ever-present. The sky, the openness of potential, the gift of possibility. Birds take wing, as do your hearts, your goals, your souls, singing out your joy, needing the earth as respite, but not attached to it. Animals strive and claw and reach for survival, never questioning the rightness of self or the rightness of their belonging here and amongst others, accepting their being and striving toward their own fullness of being and glorious, explosive potential. Plants reach toward the all that is in joy and longing and appreciation. They bloom and grow under the same power and potential. Water is the constant and the movement, refreshing us, connecting us, a reminder of the same in the non physical world and the more immediate connection to all that is. The breeze lifts you, flows through you, speaks to you, a spirit in your midst, ever present and ever moving in you, around you, through you. It gives you voice and you sing. Each thing, large and small, provides the grandest, broadest, and also the most minute and intricate insights into your world, yourselves, your purpose, and everything you are, everything that is the all that is. It lies before you always, waiting to be noticed, explored, understood, implemented, a gift to your physical being. And that was, received at one time. So I will move on to the next that was actually received the next morning. And this is that message. There is no need to find purpose. You are purpose. Meaning is something different. Meaning is the song of your heart, a gift both received and given by you and you alone. Though you come from the same, are a part of the same, you are at the same time individuals, blessed with desires, goals, play, joys, talents, gifts, wishes, hopes, and dreams, all your own, creatively specific to you. There is no one to please, no one to live up to except yourself. There is no need to find your joy. You are your joy, a celebration of life as a whole, nestled in and expressed through your own uniqueness. The universe supports you, but does not determine you. Therefore, free yourself from expectation and rest and revel in the joy of your own creation and creative expression in whatever form you wish to express it. Many have spent long, exhausted lives, lifetimes, unfulfilled, waiting for the endowment or bestowment of inspired direction. But we say to you all that all you are and all you ever will be, you hold within you now. Reach within to bring forth those things that bring happiness and express your unique and creative joy. This is all that is ever asked of you. The length, depth, and breadth of your own joy impresses and affects the world and your fellow humans in ways that you cannot yet understand. Hold fast to your joy. And finally, this message, and it's sort of related to the last one. And it came as a very short kind of message, and it actually came before the others, but it seemed to be such a part of the last one, so I'll add it here. Not how do I, just I, the expansive present. You are the expansive present. Let you explode out of the false borders of your physical self. You are your power in this present. Claim it, be it, embrace it, love it. Be confident in and allow it to shine forth into the world, thereby the universe and the all that is. And as I was doing this, I had this, receiving that, I had this picture in my head. And it was the picture in my head of Martin Luther King. and I just kept hearing the letter from Birmingham jail, and it says, then I received this: Martin Luther King Jr. and his letter from Birmingham jail is the perfect illustration of personal power and how nothing confines, jails our eternal powerful selves. All of this, everything is just window dressing, some of it beautiful, all of it constructs of our own collective energy. We are that energy behind everything, even behind bars. And I thought that was particularly interesting, because we're feeling so confined right now, right? And it's certainly not to that extent. You cannot make that comparison of actually being jailed. But although some of us are during this really difficult time when that's a very frightening prospect, but we're all feeling somewhat like that, like in our own little jails, as it were. And I just thought that was such a message of not only hope, but just perspective. It was a message of perspective. So I hope that it is that for you as well. There are a few other things that I will talk about in relation to Jacob, and especially as they come up and are presented to me. And I just, as I said, I'm still learning, and still, it's just sort of amazing to me that it's happening. But I just felt so strongly that I need to get it out there, despite the fact that I'm still learning and still trying to figure out exactly sort of what I have here, and where it's going, and the ways to put it together and present it to you. But as I said, this information will be on my website, so you can actually look at it if you want to go back and do that. Sometimes, to me anyway, that's a lot easier than watching a video, watching it again and again. Totally up to you, though, because I appreciate you watching and just um, following along and being so receptive to these messages. It's very inspiring to me and very helpful to me, and gives me a lot of hope that what I'm doing is right, and at the right time. So, not that I don't trust my guides. It's just nice to get that feedback from you. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all of your comments and support. Honestly, it's fantastic. Um, I do have times open for readings if that's something that you're interested in, and we'll have more things that we're doing, more different kinds of videos for tarot learning and everything that hopefully Cardvoyant is about. So until the next video, please take care of yourself. And you're important not only to you and to your family, but to the world. So take care of yourself, take care of others, and until the next video, bye-bye.